cult members, and welcome to the Pop Culture Cult. I'm Sean.
I'm Janice.
And welcome to our super timely review of The Invisible Man. This movie's been out for 2 weeks?
Couple weeks.
A week and a half?
Maybe it came out. No, when did we see it? We saw it on Wednesday.
We saw it on Wednesday.
Yeah, so it came out the previous week.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, we're about a week and a half out.
But it's a little movie, you know.
It's a little movie. It's made over $100 million.
Yeah, but it's Blumhouse. You know, it's not like.
Right.
It's not like, oh my God, you have to go see this on opening day or whatever.
No, this is not a rush to the theater kind of thing.
Right.
And this is one of those movies that might actually get a lot more legs on the back end at the home theater stuff. People are like, I want to save my money for Black Widow or Onward or Top Gun or whatever. So I'm going to see Invisible Man because it's Blumhouse and it's a super small movie and it's roughly based on one of the old monster movies, and so it's like that general idea. Oh, by the way, we're going to do non-spoiler talk, and then we're going to do a little bit of spoiler talk at the end for our review here, because there's something that I want to talk about.
So you said it's made over 100,000?
100 million.
100 million? 100,000. 100 million.
It's made a lot more than 100,000.
Yeah, and it was, did we look it up? How much?
I did. $7 million budget.
Right. Yes.
Seven. They made 30 an opening weekend just in the States.
Right. So it was a nice investment.
That's a very typical Blumhouse. Let's do something for $5 for $5 essentially, and have a good story. One or two really good actors who haven't hit the big payday point. And an up-and-coming director.
Yeah.
So you have a good story, good actors, an up-and-coming director. This is their launching point.
Yeah, they tend to get somebody who is known, maybe not A-list, but high B-list. They're known, so they'll bring. People are like, oh, I know that person.
Yeah.
Like in this, Elizabeth Moss. She's in *Handmaid's Tale*, and then she's been in a couple other things too, right?
Yeah.
So that's, if not name recognition, at least sight recognition.
Yeah, definitely. And because of what she's been able to do on *The Handmaid's Tale* and all the Emmy nominations and wins and stuff like that on that show, and that having that show, you have to have a great. You have to be a great actor to be able to handle that subject matter.
Range.
Yeah, and have range and everything. And so coming to something like this, where she's a victim in a different. And this is not spoilers. This is not spoilers.
Right.
You
see this in the trailer.
But she's the victim of domestic, emotional and physical abuse,
right?
And she tries to get out,
right?
And he's overbearing and controlling and everything, and then he and she gets away and he kills himself and then haunts her, essentially, is what it comes down to, is what the story is. And and Elizabeth Moss plays this victim, a different type of victim than what she does in *Handmaid's Tale*, but still a victim, and is emotionally just wrecked for the first 35-40 minutes of this movie.
I would say up until the last 5 minutes.
Yeah. There's a time in there where
she's trying to get her life back together.
She's starting to get her life back
together. It's
over.
He's dead, and she's. But then the fun begins.
Yes,
obviously.
Yes. The her performance is now we've talked about this a little bit. We haven't seen a ton of movies so far yet this year,
right?
But this is probably the best performance we've seen so far from the movies we have seen. We've seen some movies. I mean, we've seen Bad Boys and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but those are
they're kind of like popcorn movies.
None of the big serious performance movies are really going to be out for quite a while. And so, but you are in it with her, emotionally and physically and just everything. And the other thing that I wanted to talk about with this cast is, although the cast itself is Oliver Jackson Cohen plays her boyfriend Adrian,
right?
Who is like physically in the movie very short, but you get the creep vibes off of him like almost instantly. Like I don't know what he did, like to do that. But the big thing for us is Aldous Hodge. I can get to it. It's way over there. I'm trying to read it. We first got to know him on Leverage as the computer geek who's super like introverted and doesn't want to get in trouble. And we love Leverage. Leverage is one of our favorite shows of all time. Awesome show. And but him coming from that little show that I really feel like we were the only two people who actually watched that show for 6 seasons.
Right.
To a pretty major role in this movie. Back to what we're talking about. Somebody right on the cusp of really starting to hit it.
Yeah.
And this is going to be this performance and the one he does in the movie. He plays a football star who's wrongly accused of rape. That just came out like at the end of last year or the first of this year. Those kind of roles, he's just right on that cusp of starting to be a big star. And we knew him when he was just a little lad. And he's ripped in this movie.
Yes, he takes his shirt off, and you're like, holy cow.
You were like a beanpole.
Yeah.
But like everybody's performance is really good, especially with the idea of one of the main protagonist in this movie. You can't see. You can't see. And so there's full scenes where they're talking and you know there's someone in the room but Elizabeth Moss is
is there
right. Elizabeth Moss definitely knows that somebody's in the room, but everybody else is like reacting to her kind of they feel like she's losing it. And but the action pieces that go on in this movie, the actors have to I'd like to know how they did this. If they
that was one of the things after we came out that we were like, we want to see how they made this, because there's one scene where she's being attacked in the kitchen, and he is throwing her all over the place, and then she gets away and he grabs her leg and pulls her back, and there's nobody there.
There's nobody there, and she's breaking plates over his head, and it's breaking in midair. Like I would love really like that part. Like physical scenes are hard to do, especially in like the subject matter and stuff like that. But the idea of having to do that stuff and maybe not having that person there, like I'm really kind of hoping they just did it with wires and improve my appreciation of the scene itself.
I think a lot of it was probably kind of we were talking about this too, like kind of reverse mocap, like they're in a green screen suit, so that the physical stuff is still going on, and they have somebody to look at when they're talking to maybe somebody there.
Right.
And I say maybe somebody there because it's kind of Alfred Hitchcockian. In that the camera will show you areas where there may be somebody there, there may not be somebody there, and you never know whether there was somebody there. The camera, like she's over here doing something in a room by herself, and the camera pans over here, and then it pans back over, and you're like, was somebody there? We have no idea. And it builds a suspense.
There's some blocking that they do too, where the way they stand is almost set up where there's an extra person there, but you can't see him and stuff like that. And I love, I've talked about this a lot, about cinematography and stuff and how things are shot, and using those simple. This is why you can get away with doing a movie for $7 million, because you can film scenes with nobody there, actually film with nobody there, and spend your money on the special effects. And like we were talking about, if it's a green screen, you just go in there with a magic eraser essentially in the edit and magic erase the green screen out. But the blocking and the shot angles and like just adding that kind of sense of dread that's going on the entire time, and you're never really even sure if you believe the sanity of they call her C.
Cecilia.
Cecilia.
Yeah.
You never really believe her sanity. Like, you really think that she's losing it until things start really like coming to light.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, but there's
Yeah.
Yeah. So I really appreciated that. We're gonna talk about some spoiler stuff. So overall, we really like the movie. We'll score it at the end, but it's been out for a week and a half. If you're watching this review, you've made up your mind that you've wanted to see it. But we're gonna talk about some spoiler stuff. And so 3, 2, 1, you've been warned. Okay. I want to talk about the idea of how they brought the monsterness, the old Invisible Man-ness, to the modern storytelling.
Okay.
And the original one, he is a cat burglar or something like that, and he's trying to take some elixir to try to become invisible so he can rob, and then realizes it's permanent, and so he has to put makeup on his face to be seen and stuff like that. And
bandages. He puts bandages
and stuff like that. So, but that idea doesn't really work in the modern kind of setting they were doing. You could do that in like Harry Potter or The Magicians or something like that.
Yeah. But if you're trying to take it seriously, and I mean, what they end up doing is like, I mean, it's pretty. We're on the cusp of being able to do what they did.
Essentially, it's a full body suit of cameras that projects what's behind.
Right.
The technology already exists. They already use it in cars. The new Chevy trucks
with the disappearing trailer.
Disappearing trailer uses the technology, not to this detailedness. Is that word?
I mean, the stuff they have out now, you can tell. Like, if you what was that, Mythbusters or something, and they had like a sheet or something up, and you could tell there was something there because it's all kind of distorted.
If you really looked, like if you just saw it at the corner of your eye, you wouldn't have really known.
Maybe if you just saw it out of the corner of your eye.
And that was technology from 7-8 years ago.
Right. But they got to get, I mean, the suit is a million little tiny cameras.
And he's, but the jump, the logical getting rid of the dismantling of your, what am I trying to say?
I don't know.
Trying to get rid of your disbelief. Suspending, that's the word.
Okay.
Suspending your disbelief is not that big of a jump.
Right. It could be 5 or 10 years in the future,
or the government has it now and they're spying on us. Okay, Google. But the idea is not that far fetched,
right?
And so having somebody, and they set it up. He is a techno wizard in optometry. So they set it up, but they set it up real subtly throughout the entire early on in the movie.
Yeah,
and showing.
I didn't even think. I mean, they say it like way in the beginning.
It's in the beginning. It's like background noise.
Yeah, and I didn't even put it together.
And they show the actual like room where the suit is when she's trying to leave.
Yeah,
and it's like a real subtle kind of thing. And then the idea of when she's trying to get out, she turns off all the cameras.
Right.
So there's like
the house is very connected.
The house is very connected. Very cool, by the way. Very modern. But they're giving you all these hints and the opening scene without any freaking dialogue, and I was just like, okay, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Which I didn't figure out later. The other thing about this movie too is because it is one of the original monster movie things. It's distributed. It's part of Universal. Blumhouse and Universal did this. Blumhouse put it together, but Universal has the rights to all the monster stuff. So this kind of sets up instead of just jumping out and doing dark universes, which they try to do with Tom Cruise's Mummy, and they had everybody else that was going to be involved in this there's that picture that's out there with Tom Cruise and Guillermo del Toro. No, Javier Bardem was going to be Wolfman, and Johnny Depp was going to be the Invisible Man, and they jumped right into it. Apparently taking a book from the DC, and now they're going back and let Blumhouse do these tiny little movies, and build them up.
Which is what these were to be, back in the day. I mean, not that there were huge movies back then, but they weren't Gone with the Wind. They were Saturday matinee.
Yeah.
Fillers.
And if you do 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 of these little movies, and they're all going to make a gazillion dollars for them if you keep the budget under 10 million or whatever, and then you go and you build it up to Monster Squad or Dark Universe or whatever.
Yeah,
that movie's going to open. Now you put $100 million into that movie, and then it opens for $250. Or
you don't do that. You do like they used to do, where it's like Wolfman meets Frankenstein, or just the Invisible Man and meets the Mummy or whatever, and you just those little mashups, but you don't ever do an Avengers level.
Everybody wants to do an Avengers level because $3 billion.
Yeah, but these are little movies.
Yeah,
if you're going to make them little movies, keep the kitschiness of the what were these 40s, 50s monster movies.
Yeah.
We were kind of talking about it on the way home after seeing it, like what movies they could do. They've already done The Mummy, and I guess in a while they could maybe revisit that, but not anytime soon. And so then I kind of feel that Dracula has been played out, but they could do the Wolfman,
Dr. Frankenstein.
Frankenstein, definitely.
It would be really cool to see them do Dr. Frankenstein, building the monster with, grave robbing and stuff like that, but in a modern sense. And then they were talking about doing Bride of Frankenstein next, which I felt was a little weird of a storytelling arc. But you
don't introduce Frankenstein first. You just
if you do it from like this point of view of a domestic dispute, a domestic violence victim, if you do that story arc, by the way, it's also the Invisible Man. If you do Bride of Frankenstein, who loses her husband to some war injury or whatever, and they rebuild him as Frankenstein, it would be kind of it'd be I'm spitballing a little bit, but the general idea of keeping these movies small and bringing them up to modern kind of storytelling would be really cool. And if they do want to do a Monster Squad, Dark Universe, a giant meetup thing, we have the Invisible Woman as a very possible thing. And so the way they end the movie is very much an opportunity to really play with the vigilante going after abusive men storytelling. That is very much the girl with the dragon tattoo, but now you do it within the idea of the monster movie universe would be really interesting and stuff. So that's our thoughts on the...
Are we going to score
I'm getting there.
Okay.
That's our thoughts on the Invisible Man. Apparently we had a lot more to talk about this than we thought I did.
Than we thought you did.
I had it all figured out in my head, and you just screwed me all up. Would you like to score it?
Nope.
Okay. Do you believe this?
I'm going to give it a 4.25. I liked it because I like thrillers.
I was at a 4.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I'm higher than you are.
I'm at a 4, and I'm just trying to figure out if I would have done it any higher. These are not like super. It's jump scares. There's a lot of jump scares, and that's the point of the movie.
Yeah.
And jump scare movies aren't really my jam.
His thing. I love them.
And so
I really like
there's
it.
one in the beginning where she kicks a dog bowl, and I was just like, oh, okay, it's gonna be one of those movies. I'm watching with my eyes closed.
Yep.
But yeah, I think
I would buy this. I would watch it over and over again. I liked it.
This would be a really cool like late night, like turn all the lights off and make a pillow fort and toilet paper fort.
Toilet paper fort, which is apparently what everybody's doing with all the toilet paper they bought from Costco.
But yeah, I really liked this movie. Like I really liked what they did, and I really like what Blumhouse is doing. So I guess we have to watch more scary movies.
Yay!
Well, shit. That's our thoughts, everyone. Can I close the show now, or do you want to score it again?
We could score it again.
Out of 500, we're at 4. So, like this video, subscribe to the channel. If you're on the podcast feed, follow us there. We're also on all the social media stuff, Facebook, Instagram, sometimes Twitter, blah, 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 and all that jazz. Please share share our content with your friends because we're trying to build stuff, so let us know. And if we don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Apparently I need to start singing the end.